back to the movie itself, I think one of the problems I had with it was the villain. I think his name was Aiken.
Hmm.
So that's what Clay Aiken's been doing all this time. I mean,
No comment.
yeah, I guess he was aching for some action.
Yeah. I
Bad
agree.
pun.
The villain was not that great. I mean, he was good enough, I guess, for the role.
Yeah,
And
pretty much
he,
that guy you want to kill.
yeah. Even his haircut was like, you need to either get your haircut or be killed because it's that bad. Um, and I don't know, he had like psychic powers or something
It's
that,
kind of like he was in. I feel like he was one of those people who had the powers from Chronicle
yeah.
and that. Which, by the way, that needs a sequel. Why
Mm,
hasn't that happened yet?
because there are bad people out there making decisions. But yeah, I think that that was kind of weird how he had those powers, and they never explained it.
yeah,
Like
they're
that's
yeah
kind of
they
a spoiler, but they never explained it.
yeah. Can they have at least briefly describe? Maybe you can like monologue or something like, "Oh, I got these powers because of that." Sort of thing. It just made no sense. I mean, it made him stand out and kind of was cool, but if you think about it, it's like, where did this guy get the powers? How did this guy have doing that sort of thing? It made no sense. I thought they were going to answer it, but they never did.
Yep, it's true.
Yeah, and then I think another thing was kind of how the movie abruptly ends as well, which is not really much of a spoil. I'm just saying it just abruptly ends.
Hmm.
There's not much falling action or, time to.
Once you see the movie, though, you'll see why that's ironic that he
Bad
said
pun, bad pun. But yeah, I mean, I would say that the movie itself, I mean, if you're like a really young teenager, you're probably going to look back and say, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. I love this movie. It's awesome. But, I mean, I did enjoy this one. I mean, I think it's a pretty good, entertaining movie, but it doesn't really have much of a plot. Now, I know that
that.
I
Hmm.
may get some death threats if I say this, but honestly, it's kind of like Deadpool, if you think about it, because Deadpool didn't have much of a story or a plot, but at least I could overlook that because it was a really entertaining movie. It was really funny, had really cool action, and it was something different. And that's what I like about Hardcore Henry. Yeah, the story is kind of meh, but it is pretty much a movie that we don't really see often. It's an original movie because story wise. Second is that it's showing a technology we haven't really seen utilized as a full movie. I mean, we've seen stuff like this used in maybe some shots in movies, but never a whole entire movie dedicated to it. And yeah, it's pretty violent, but if you're a fan of first person shooter video games, you're going to have the time of your life.
Absolutely. And I will say, I'm not quite buying into, you know, the whole Deadpool thing. I think Deadpool has a little more, or not a little more, but uh, quite a bit more story than this one.
Yeah,
I completely understand and respect the whole difference of opinion here, but
I know.
I think it's not a great comparison
Well,
in
it just
general.
reminded me of that.
I guess I get you, but um, yeah, I agree. I thought that the plot was kind of all over the place, which is fine. It was not trying to be super, you know, get you to think about philosophical
This
things.
ain't like a Christopher Nolan movie.
Right. Um, and you can tell they were definitely having fun with it. It was definitely a boys aggressive. Yeah, 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 yeah. Shoot him up, kill that mother.
Feminazi be like, whoa, you
Yeah,
really think guys can enjoy this movie?
right. Type movie. But I mean, there were even parts where they were showing like a brothel, naked women, cocaine and cocaine accessories.
Ooh.
Um, but it was very male fantasy
Definitely.
like, and if that's what you're into, it's right up your alley, and it was fun. Um, but really, I can the best things I can say about it are it was very visually interesting for what they did and a good concept, and it was fun.
Okay. So, I think I should have said this a few minutes ago, but what would you give this movie, Steven?
Well, I've been thinking about it, and I personally would give this about a 78%. I feel that that's pretty solid. It's almost, um, you know, B material of movies, and I would still argue it kind of is, but there were some messy things about it that I'm not gonna lie were kind of, um, you know, just a mishmash and confusing, left questions, and I don't think it's a movie that I would want to see a bunch of times. Maybe one more time to see if I answer some of my questions, but that I didn't see the first time. But I ultimately think 78% is about dead on for what it should receive.
Okay. Personally, I think the movie is, yeah, I mean, the story doesn't really have the most developed or kind of best story out there, and the villain is pretty flat. He doesn't really get much backstory or an explanation to his powers that come right out of nowhere. But the movie itself is pretty entertaining. It's really fun to just watch someone from a first person shooter perspective. And this is the kind of movie I feel like hopefully this will kind of change movies, not like Avatar that, is bringing in the wrong direction. This one will probably bring it forward because maybe we can explore this kind of medium through different kind of perspectives. Even if it's not just an action movie, what it can be maybe a mystery, thriller, or something like that.
Or porno.
So I would give Hardcore Henry about 3 stars out of 4.
Okay, I can respect that.
At the very most, maybe 2.5 stars out of 4, but I just have to think about it. So more like 2.5 stars to 3 stars out of 4.
Mm-hmm.
But back to what you said about that, I mean, I won't be surprised if there's like a porno version called, instead of like Hardcore Henry, it's probably going to be called Hardcore Hose.
Or just Hardcore Henry, and they...
Copyright?
Well, I mean, yeah, but they could, make it next year. Hardcore Henry, brackets 2017.
Yeah, but... yeah, I mean, where are they going to put the to-go cam at?
Well, I got several ideas. And, I think the audience might have some too, unless... this is the group that's waiting for our...
I do not want to be the cinematographer on that movie.
Yeah. No, but unless this is the group of kids waiting for our Dragon Tales review, I think that...
Dragon Tales? Anyone remembers that show?
I mean, I do a little, I guess, but I was just thinking of first kid show that comes to mind. Anyways, back to, for the umpteenth time, the topic at hand.
Yeah. All right, so this is Tyler from Enquiry Reviews.
And Stephen from Stephen Lawson Studios.
And we hope you enjoyed this episode of Unscripted, and we hope to see you in the future. Bye.